This week, those three magnificent golf courses in Scotland host the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship, an annual gathering of the DP World Tour's top stars. Also, family members. Play will rotate on the Old Course, Carnoustie, and Kingsbarns, as mentioned, for the first 3 rounds before the cut. Then the final round we played on the Old Course at St. Andrews on Sunday. A lot of star power in the field this week, including standouts from both the PGA Tour and LIV Golf. You got the likes of Rory McIlroy in the field, Matt Fitzpatrick, Fleetwood, Horschel, Shane Lowry is in this field, John Rahm continuing his DP World Tour. You got Brooks Koepka and Patrick Reed from the LIV Golf Circuit. Now, how about this nugget? Commissioner Jay Monahan and PIF Governor Yasir Al-Rumayyan are grouped for the first round of the event as the PGA Tour continues to negotiate with Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund. Now, Monahan will play alongside Billy Horschel on Friday at Kingsbarns. Monahan will play with Rory McIlroy and McIlroy's dad, Jerry. Then on Saturday at St. Andrews, McIlroy will be paired with Al-Rumayyan, with Jay Monahan and LIV member Louis Oosthuizen. That Billy Horschel spoke about the week ahead and said the following on playing with Jay Monahan and Yasir Al-Rumayyan: anything that we can show the game of golf, especially the fans, that things are trying to go in the right direction. We are all trying to make this work and figure out how the game of golf is going to work in a couple of years, but really how we're going to set ourselves up for the next several decades is a positive. Tell you what, Eamon, Yasir Al-Rumayyan a year ago played with Martin Slumbers, now going to play with Jay Monahan. LIV Golf, if it's not thriving, it's existing. It matters in the greater ecosystem of golf. But what does the image, the vision of Monahan and Yasir playing side by side, does it tell the fans something? Does it matter?
Well, it's always nice to see busy executives getting time to fit in a round of golf, I suppose, or 3, at least this week. A lot of this is performative because this narrative has, and it bubbles up every few weeks where nothing's happening, there's no progress, somebody is asleep on the job. And that hasn't actually been the case because there have been a lot of talks going on, a lot of meetings, and so much of this is dictated by the Department of Justice now in terms of timeframes. So to me, this is a very easy way for Monahan and Al-Rumayyan to signal that there is a relationship, that there is a dialogue going on, that while there may not be momentum as such, as most fans will understand it, there's at least some inching along kind of progress towards whatever their end game is in this. And I think it's an effort to try to stave off the suggestion that nothing is happening. But the reality is that the time frame is not within their gift to determine. Because they have a twin-track conversation going on with the Department of Justice, but it is ultimately the DOJ and its influence and whatever red flags it raises, even before anything is announced, that will determine the pace of progress here. So to me, this is just kind of, it's a smoke signal to suggest to fans that there is momentum or at least something happening.
I just wonder how much patience the fans will have. You can't help but notice the absence, the lack of what the President's Cup had in terms of no Cam Smith, no Joaquin Neiman, no Bryson DeChambeau, no Brooks Koepka. I was on the ground, and even during this 4-day, match play event, in the back of our heads was, well, this isn't necessarily what it could have been. And that's been the story of golf over the last year and a half. It's the glimpse of Rory and Bryson for a day or two, in the sandhills of North Carolina. I'm glad that Yasir and Jay are getting together, but my goodness, every day that ticks, every week that goes by, that this game is splintered, I think the fans lose patience. There's football going on in the fall. I'll tell you what, the executives have to get their house in order. And you're right, the tough thing is it's not all in their purview what this final thing will look like, as the Department of Justice will have the loudest voice.
And a lot of people, particularly you hear it from players, they talk about unifying the game. What they mean is unifying it for them, which is that the best players in the world will play together on a schedule that they like, be it global or more domestic. They're all making a dangerous assumption here. If you accept the notion, and there does appear to be some evidence for this, that fans have been turned off by what they see as several years now of entitled money grubbing. It's an awfully generous leap to think that the fans will rush back if you can just get all the entitled money grubbers under one roof again.
Yeah.
The damage that has been done here in terms of fan loyalty to any kind of product, regardless of what tour you're talking about, but the idea of men's professional golf has clearly suffered fan erosion. It's an awfully generous assumption to think those people are coming back.
It's a great point you make. And you think about the days and weeks and months and in some cases years that would follow an NBA walkout or a Major League Baseball strike or NFL, lockouts and different things. Those left a scar. Yeah. Those left a mark. And when you're in golf, and listen, golf has a small but passionate fan base. I mean, make no mistake.
Something else to do on a Sunday afternoon if they ain't watching, right?
No, it's true. But I do think there will be. It'll take the likes of the facts of Rory McIlroy is going to be in group, and Billy Horschel, and Rory's a globalist. He's lived in the Middle East. He plays on the PGA Tour, the DP World Tour. It's going to take Rory arm in arm with a Brooks Koepka, Bryce, and John Rahm. Like, these guys have to get together at some point and do a lot of outreach, I believe, with the fans. And the PGA Tour is going to have to continue to do massive outreach. And whatever this newfangled PGA Tour / Live League looks like, the outreach is going to have to be outside the box thinking, big and bold, to get these fans back. Because you go on the street and talk to folks, they're confused and they're tired and they do not want to hear about money. They are tired of talking about it.
They really are. And as much outreach as has to be done by those top stars, it's not just the outreach to the fans, because to get to any endpoint of a deal, they also have to, particularly on the PGA Tour, win over the rank-and-file members of their own tour. And not all of those members are, frankly, incentivized to see a deal. There are guys out there now who don't have to beat John Rahm to win a FedEx Cup bonus, or they don't have to beat Brooks Koepka to win a golf tournament. Why would they be incentivized to see either of those guys return? They're not necessarily thinking about the broader good of a product, or certainly what fans would like to see. So there are so many different constituencies here, and they're not necessarily all aligned. I think the key constituencies at the very top in terms of players and the executives seem to be aligned in trying to navigate their way through this. But there are a lot of folks out there who aren't necessarily all rowing in the same direction.
Yeah, so many questions still to be answered. One thing I am thankful for is the Alfred Dunhill Links. A lot of great golf to watch this week. And Matt Fitzpatrick earned his 9th career win on the DP World Tour last year in the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship. Fall Scottish weather shortened the event to 54 holes, you might remember, but a 6-under par round of 66 at the old course was good enough for the title. He also won the Pro-Am Team Championship with his mom, Susan. Very cool. And how about this? Matt and Sue hung up their trophy picture in the Dunvegan Hotel just behind the 18th green at the old course. Truly one of the best 19th holes in the game.
Pebble when you finish T2 in the Pure Insurance?
They're still working on that from what I have been told. And listen, as I said, this is a coffee golf type of week. Lots to watch. Get up early, 7 a.m. Eastern time on Thursday and Friday and Saturday. Then Sunday, a little bit earlier, 6:30 a.m. Eastern time on Golf Channel.